Hey everyone, we're back again. This is Cureton, senior journalist from XR Today, bringing you the latest and greatest from the VR, AR, and XR industries. Today we have on yet again another special guest. We have on Allison Sturges. She is the head of marketing at Genies, which is an amazing avatar firm that has been working with the Warner Music Group and some other amazing companies as well. So, welcome aboard, Allison. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you. Very excited to chat with you today.
Okay, so we've been following some of the developments going on with Genies. Could you tell us a little bit what Genies is about and what kind of services they offer?
Absolutely. Genies, our mission really is we are an avatar tools company. And our mission is really that we want to empower people to be able to design and create their own avatar ecosystems. So that includes obviously the avatar, which we see as the identity layer for people's virtual interactions. It's a form of self expression that really allows people to be their most authentic self in this kind of digital era, and really play with that identity as well. I think we've spent a lot of time on kind of the art and aesthetic of our avatars. And so really enabling people to be playful with that identity and how they show up and kind of experiment with, how they're showing up virtually. It also includes digital fashion. So that's actually kind of the first set of tools that we've even rolled out through our platform, our Genie Studio app, all really revolving around empowering people to design and create, eventually sell and thrift and trade their own digital fashion. And so all the tools right now really are built around digital fashion tools, really tapping into kind of Gen Z and culture and trends in that nature. And then to come in the coming months and years, a lot of these tools will really revolve around avatar spaces and avatar experiences. Again, kind of getting back to our mission of enabling people to be able to create their own avatar ecosystems.
Brilliant. Yeah, and it's really cool that they have these types of systems out. We've seen some of the systems being used by Ready Player Me, RFTKT, I think that's the name of it, if not mistaken.
Yeah.
And yeah, a few other platforms as well. And what this is doing is creating a nice community that, people can share their identities. They can share their, their idealized states along with wearables that they're buying from different parts of the world and different Web3 applications. They can also integrate themselves into that as well. So yeah, excellent solution that you're creating there. So I was going to ask you a little bit about that. First question up is, what is your approach to creating interoperable avatar technologies compared to these companies I just mentioned?
Yeah, I think the way that we look at it is, like I said, we really want to provide tools that enable anyone to create their own avatar ecosystems. So a lot of the tools even that we've rolled out to date really are even prosumer tools. So allowing your everyday average, user or consumer to be able to design and create their own avatar, their own digital fashion, and eventually their own experiences and ecosystems as well. And so by providing these kinds of tool sets, it really, like I said, does empower anyone to create these avatar ecosystems. I think a lot of the players in the avatar space, everyone's kind of doing different things in different ways. You have closed ecosystems, you have interoperable avatars through SDKs, where it can be integrated across different platforms. And for us, we really see our tools as a way to kind of relinquish control to users and creators and artists and developers to really imagine and design and create, and give that power and control and ownership to anyone that's leveraging those tools to create what they want. And so eventually we even see that as people being able to leverage these tools to create their own mini apps or their own games, or even, XR compatible experiences where Genies now just becomes that identity layer. And so the more tools that we can provide and roll out, you can imagine the more capabilities and use cases that people can leverage that identity layer for.
Right, right. Yeah, and that's kind of like what we look at as the democratization of these avatar technologies, or any other Web3 technologies as well. And, this empowers a lot of people to, like you said, create their own apps, create their own use cases, their own, different resources, and repositories for developing these types of solutions. So very, very good. I wanted to ask you about some of the different other types of things related to Genies. So how does a user or a company create their ecosystem of avatars and wearables? Like what kind of tools? You mentioned the SDK, and what are some other kind of tools that you could use to facilitate content creation?
Sorry about that with the lighting. Um, Yeah, so, right now a user can download the Genie Studio app. They're able to create their own avatar. The tools that we currently provide, like I said, all around digital fashion, include things like being able to create your own patterns or textures, eventually being able to upload your own patterns. We have, stitching and cropping, so you could actually take an asset, let's say this shirt, you could crop the sleeves off, and then pair those sleeves with a totally different asset or top, and really feel like you're actually designing and creating this digital fashion. Then from there, you'd be able to sell, thrift, or trade these pieces. I kind of touched on this, but we study a lot around Gen Z and culture and kind of mainstream users and consumers and how their behaviors are interacting with these kinds of tools. And a lot of the trends that you see right now, especially in kind of this virtual world, is all around, self-expression. And so we really see fashion as a vehicle for self-expression. You see that in the physical world with trends like DIYing or thrifting or upcycling or Depop. Fashion has become so ingrained in, mainstream users in Gen Z. And so that's really why we've focused a lot of our first set of tools. And you could even call that our first really experience with the avatars is designing, creating, selling, and trading digital fashion. Where you now can imagine, these users can even create a whole business around this digital fashion. They can sell this to other users or interact with each other around their creations. And then, like I said, coming out, later this year, we'll be offering our developer kit or even our artist kind of technical documentation to again kind of further empower that creation and the ability to create these experiences. For, I think Web3 in general, we really see the future of Web3 is XR compatible. And we're particularly excited about the AR space. I think even seeing all the news this past year of Apple, releasing their AR glasses, I think that is a pretty strong signal about that space specifically. And AR is going to need an identity layer to interact with your friends in different use cases, games, ecosystems, and things like that. And so going back to our tools, it is really enabling those developers or those creators or those users to be able to build on top of that identity layer and kind of dream up the different types of use cases that they want to build a brand around, or they might want to build an app around, to kind of continue building their brand and businesses.
Yeah, definitely. And we've seen like the proliferation of a lot of different smart glasses and other AR technologies. Many of them are through the phone. So people who have the smartphones can tap directly into products from IKEA, for example, or from Hugo Boss or other different types of companies. And they can integrate these types of tools for like AR try-ons, or if they want to interact with their avatars, they can also do that. And these are different ways that we can start building this kind of ecosystem of different use cases that are necessary to creating kind of like one aspect of the metaverse that would take place in the future. So yeah, you
Absolutely.
mentioned about fashion, which is one of the big verticals of it. There's
Yeah.
also music. So you had this major partnership with the Warner Music Group.
Mhm.
So how did you strike this partnership, and why did you choose to integrate your technologies for them?
Yeah, it's an interesting story. I think it kind of goes back to our origin and even how we first got into the avatar space. We started building avatars back actually in 2016. And at that time, it was actually celebrity tastemakers that were really our core users leveraging our avatars for a variety of different use cases. We were working with music artists, we were working with athletes, influencers, movie stars, a pretty wide variety of tastemakers in these different industries. And we really found that, they wanted to tap into this new form of self-expression, a new way for them to engage with maybe their fans through virtual experiences. We've done, music videos with Justin Bieber or Migos, where the entire music video is all done through their digital avatar. It was also a way for, even during the pandemic when everything was virtual, it was also a way for people to maybe even collaborate with people that they couldn't physically be there present together. We did a show in Decentraland where Paris Hilton's Genie did a full DJ set in Decentraland for all of the Decentraland community. So there's been a wide variety of use cases as we've worked with these celebrity tastemakers. And I think that really gave us a lot of like foundational understanding of how people might want to use an avatar, interact with it, or how they might want to show up virtually. So that gave us a lot of really great insights that honestly led us to wanting to build avatars for the masses and build our tools that would enable anyone to create similar types of experiences and more. And so, I think over, 2016, 2017, 2018, we were working with thousands of celebrity tastemakers at that time and really became kind of the main avatar provider for these celebrity tastemakers and really our core users at the time. And so that eventually did lead us to our deals and partnerships with Warner Music Group and Universal Music Group being their official avatar and digital goods provider. So I think it's been a really cool transition and honestly like journey as we've built our technology and our aesthetic and the different use cases to be able to test it almost with kind of the biggest tastemakers in the world, and then now look to bring that to mass adoption for normal users and consumers.
Yeah. And yeah, there's types of ecosystems that Warner Music Group has been making, and Sony as well. They have kind of created like this massive opportunity for people to become more social around the music that they enjoy, listening to. And so this is a good way to get them integrated into this new, kind of, I guess, music metaverse, as you would say, because if I'm not mistaken, like I went to recently a concert with to see Fatboy Slim. And that was
Nice.
pretty cool because it was a chance to actually meet other people from around, I guess, the world who were interested in the same music. And so, of
Super
course,
cool.
you need, it was really, really good too. Really, really nice music. And, they would have the chance to potentially integrate their own avatars in. I know Ready Player Me did something similar as well
Mm.
with a company called Morpheus. So these avatars are going to move between different types of worlds and platforms, and it's going to be essential they have that interoperability. So, yeah. I was going to ask you a little bit about I guess some other things. Do you have anything else that you wanted to add about maybe generating revenues, or maybe how firms can leverage avatars to generate revenues in the future?
Definitely. So, when we launched the Genie Studio app, I believe our limited beta was released back in August. We also launched the Warehouse, which is our digital fashion NFT marketplace built on Flow's blockchain. And so all of the assets within our ecosystem are minted as NFTs. And for us, I think we really view NFTs as that underlying technology that can power these assets in a way that does give ownership back to the users and back to the creators. About a year ago, we actually announced giving full ownership to all of our users. So they own their assets, they own everything that they create in our ecosystem. And that's really important to us. I think we feel pretty strongly as like a creator first platform and really building for users and being able to give attribution back to their creations and what they're building within our ecosystem. And so that was kind of the first step of, kind of the revenue component of people being able to buy, sell, and trade these different assets. We were able to work with a lot of really cool creators and brands to fully help them kind of customize their first digital fashion collections. A lot of them had never even tapped into the digital space at all, ranging from Ian Charms to 24K Golden. Even Paris Hilton, actually, we did do a collection with her in December as well. But a pretty wide variety of brands, creators, talent, being able to sell these assets. And over the coming months, we'll start to roll out more capabilities for more of our users, even like thrift shops, you can imagine, where they can actually go trade these different assets as if they would in the real world. And so kind of empowering, the potential for revenue or people to build a brand in our ecosystem through a lot of these assets is definitely really important to us. And then I think as we continue to roll out things like our developer kit, which will be coming soon, that'll just offer up more opportunities for creators in this ecosystem to continue to expand where they can create, how they can interact with those creations with others, where they can sell those creations, and then eventually once we get to kind of that mini app stage of sorts where people are actually building their own ecosystems and experiences, there's obviously the level of transactions from that standpoint as it starts to scale even more.
Cool. Yeah, and I know it's going to be like pretty much unlimited opportunities to like kind of expand your your cachet or array of solutions with Genies. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how they are applied in the future, so that way people can get the most out of the technologies and how they will
Absolutely.
integrate it with other emerging technologies. Something that I think about, maybe integrating information or customer habits, spending habits, other types of things like these. Which I think would really get the chance to unlock Web3 technologies in the future.
Absolutely.
Great. Anything else you wanted to add before we wrap up for today?
Um, I think we have a lot of really exciting things coming out later this year, even actually over the next coming months. Obviously, more tools and more capabilities. First, kind of on the digital fashion side, we'll start to also roll out more of our social interaction tools. So the ability for people, sorry about that, the ability for people to actually interact socially on our platform, which I think will be really exciting at that point in time. People want to be able to share their creations with others and interact through those creations. So more of those features will be rolling out later this year on Genie Studio. You can think of Genie Studio as kind of our first avatar experience for users and consumers. And then later this year, as we do start to roll out our developer kit, that'll be the first time that developers will now have access to our avatar identity layer, and all of these tools that we're providing through Genie Studio and more that we're starting to look into as well, to start to actually create and release the first experiences past Genie Studio. And like I said, we're really excited about kind of this Web3 XR compatibility future, and so we do envision a lot of these experiences to be built with that in mind. So yeah, definitely a lot of exciting things coming up this year.
Excellent. Good to hear. And yeah, so that basically wraps up everything. Yeah. Once again, we've been speaking with Allison Sturges. She is the head of marketing for Genies. And my name again is Cureton, senior journalist XR Today. And if you'd like to continue following conversations like this, please do so at the XR News hashtag. You can do so at our Twitter and LinkedIn pages. So once again, signing off for today. Have an excellent time and enjoy your holiday season.